Hello everyone and greetings. Welcome to the demo of insider trading data scraping tool. This is the insider trading database dashboard with search functionality and paginated results. It is built using Python and Django. Here you can see a list of latest and all insider trading data. That is all four form type 4 filings that is done by people from inside the company. You can see fill date, that is when the filings was made, the time, the when the US SEC accepted this filing, and the company ticker. What is the company symbol or the ticker? Which company for it is, and the who filed this trade. That is the insider name, and what is the relationship of that person with the company. That is the title or work designation, and what is the trade type. That is whether it is an option exercise or sale or buy, for example. That's what, and the price, at what price this trade was done, and what is the total quantity of shares or the of the trade. So here it is, and what is total value. So total value is this multiplication of price and the quantity, and the link to the actual form 4. So this Python and Django application scrapes data every 5 minutes from US SEC Edgar website. So if I go to US SEC Edgar website, this is the US SEC Edgar website where we fetch the data from for the latest filings only for form type 4. So this is the official US SEC website. If I go to, let me go to the home. So if I do a Google search, this is US SEC website. United States Securities Exchange and Commission website. If I go to filings, go and search quick advert tutorial. Not here. Let me go back. Search for company filings and go to the latest filing. So this latest filings displays the list of all the latest filings. So what this Python application does is every 5 minutes it hits this URL and search for form type 4. That is, form type 4 means where it is done by the company insider people, that is people working who are for the company, and retrieve the fillings. So this Python script hits this URL every 5 minutes and checks whether are there any form filings or not. So my Python script identifies each filings uniquely with the HTML link. So each filing has a HTML link, so I identify it uniquely using it every link with uniquely in my database. So if I click on this HTML link, it will take me to this index page where it has the form for links. And if I go to this document, that is the actual form for, then I can see this actual form for data. So this Python application checks the scrapes web scrape. This is a website, so it scrapes all the web scraping data from this form, which is a HTML, and it checks for the what is the name of the person, what is the address, what is the issuer name of the company name along with the ticker name, when the transaction was made, what is the relationship of of the person with the company, like who filed the uh, trade, then what other stocks and has been the trade has been made on, then on what date, what is the transaction code, what is the price amount, and the total value, and all those information is scraped and stored in a database. And from that database, this Django application presents the database in all the data into a dashboard, which is searchable. Like you can search for any company. Let me search Omega. If there is any search keyword with Omega, there is no Omega. Let me search. Yeah, Omaha. Just a random data I'm searching. Yeah, so I have some data with Omaha, company name Omaha. Likewise, I can search for anything. So let me give you blank search. So you can search here by anything like ticker name. You can search by any company like ticker name. Let me search with HESM, or I can search with a company name also. So if I search with this ticker name, I get all for HESM. If I search all the directors, all the filings made by the directors. So I'm searching for a director. So I see a very long list of. So I can see all the filings made by the director. This all is director. I can go to the next page. This is also done by the director. I can go to the last page. This is also done by the director. So there are 80 pages. Each page is showing a list of 100 results. So 80 into 100, there are 8,000 filings made by the directors. And I have the latest data from July 26. So this is when I started building this project. So this is all about the Django tool. Now we'll do a code review of how this is actually working. So I'll come to my GitHub, to my code here in VS Code. So as you can see, this is my Python script, which is the main program which fetches the data every 5 minutes from the USSC website. So if I can come from start of program, this is the main function. So while true means this script will always be running, and it will be while true when this main function is called, main file is called, then the script will be always running and it will call the main function. So here is my main functions, and this is some just print statements or logging features to display the data. So what it does is, first of all, it calls a get latest filing. So this function fetches all the filings from this list, form type 4. So this is the list, and it includes only this thing, and fetches all the form 4 data every. So let me show you the code here, all the filings. So let's go to this function. So this is, let me minimize other functions. So this is my get latest filings function. So this is a logging or print feature which shows in the logs what it's currently doing. So first of all, it checks the last HTML in the database. So I make a query to my Postgres database, which is running on a Google Cloud SQL. So it selects this is my table name, select latest filings. So I select the HTML URL from the latest filing tables, and I order by accept the date time. So let me show you my table in the database. So I've logged into P-SQL here. So this is my table. So if I show you here, this is the list of my all my tables in the database. So these are the authentication tables for the Django authentication. So my Django is also running on the same database, and my Python main script is also our main database is also here only inside it. And inside this, I have the main two tables: insider trading and latest filings. So latest filings, this table stores all the data from this page. So if I show you, go at this page, latest filings with this query form 4. So it stores all the data, like what is the form type, form formats, with the HTML link, and description, accepted time, filing it, file name. This all data is really not needed. I am just worried about this. So but still, as just for future implications and applications, I'm keeping this data. So it checks all the form 4 HTMLs. This program checks all this table, fetches all this table data from this table, and stores this HTML URL. So from this is my first step. So I will first of all my query checks my script checks what is the last HTML stored in the database. So from there after we start processing the data. For example, my last HTML stored was this origin materials. This data until like this I have my data saved in the database. But from above this, that is 39 rows in this table are not saved. So first of all, when I check, I will check store my this data is stored in my database. So this I fetch it back from the database and keep in a last HTML variable, and then I make a start hitting this URL again. I check this URL. Store this, check this URL whether this HTML URL is equal to the last saved HTML URL or not. That is this. So if it is not equal, so it means it's a new URL, and then I go ahead and save this data into my database, this URL, and so that I can fetch the data associated with this link. So this is what. So first of all, I check whether is instance I'm getting a single list or not. So if it is a single list, then I take that value, and if it is not a single list, then I assign it the last HTML is none. So this use case is for when there is no data in the database, or you want to manually override some logic, then you can use this logic that the last HTML. So it will using this logic. If there is no data in the database, then this Python script will go till the last of this page. So as you can see, suppose my I haven't fetched the data from, let's say, 500 rows. I don't have the latest 500 filing. So this website returns only 40 rows. So my Python script will keep on adding, clicking on the next 40 rows. So I send the next query with the next 40 rows, where I start at 40 and counter is always 40. Max, that is the max limit. So I keep on fetching this data and click on next until I reach the last saved data. So this is what my Python script is doing. And suppose if there nothing is saved, then it will go to the last database, last entry this application is providing. So it will provide a lot of data. So and then if some error, then it will exception. It will show me the error, exception error, and then I assign a uh, empty list to the latest filing data. So this is where my returning data is going to be saved from this table. So this all data will be stored in a list called latest filing data. So this is the first how it will check logic if last HTML is not if there was an error in fetching the last HTML from the database, then it will set it to none. And if it is none, then it will on turn, it will throw a error in the else block, error fetching last saved HTML from database else. Else it will run this if condition. So it will first set all data fetched as a false. This counter or flag will which will set when I reach the last all data fetched, then it will set to be true. Then I start at zero, and then I will run a while loop while not all data fetched. While all not data fetch is false, so means I when until unless I have not fetched all the data, I will go and set the URL variable SSE Edgar URL as this, where I always keep a count equal to 40 and start using iterator. So here the start will be always incrementing. The start first will be 0, then 40, then 80, then 120 at increment of 40. Then this will print. It will make a request to the SEC website, and it will save this response into a beautiful soup object. And then I'm using beautiful soup object, I parse all this data. So there will be all the data is in a form of tables. So I find all the tables, outer tables using recursive is equal to false, so that it doesn't fetch inner tables. And then I know that the which all tables has the what data, so I fetch them using this Python logic. And if I reached when I reached some data which I already have saved, suppose this data is already saved, this HTML URL. So my logic will compare each HTML URL whether it is saved in my database or not. So if I reached a URL which HTML URL which already saved in the database, it means that I have reached the all completed fetching all the new data. So this Python brick will then so first would say if it is not equal, then it will save the data into the list. It will append the data into the list. Else, if it is fetched, then it will break out of the loop. So this is how this script is fetching the first part of this data, that is this table data, until unless the last saved data. And the next part is the fetching the data from fetching the form for data from each link. So I have this data in a variable in the list using all these links. So I call my Python script here again. So for as soon as I have all the latest filings, it is saved into the database table, and then I make HTML URL link list again from this first list, and for each URL I call this insider trading function. This function insider trading get filing details. So for each URL, it fetches the filing details from its form for URL. So what the Python script will do is for each link in this table, it will go to this HTML URL. Then it will fetch this page, this URL, this HTML page, and then it will parse this data using beautiful soup. Again, it will search for this document link from 4.html, and then it will go to this XML page or the HTML page, this URL, and fetches, parses all this data, all the required data, and stores it into the database. So this is the function to do this thing. Get latest filings. It will. So this is the function. Get filing details. It will fetch the. So this is how it is working. So this function will be passed HTML URL from this page, this page HTML URL. So this by this function I will get this URL here, and it will parse this HTML page and get this URL, and again it will go to this URL and pass the HTML page. So this is what it is doing. First it will go to the index URL, and then it will find the document URL, that is a form 4 URL, and then it will fetch this form 4 URL and parse the data, all the required data like the company name, insider name, company ticker, director, who the person filed, the owner, is it owner, officer, or director, or some other. Then it will find all the non-derivative table, like this is a non-derivative table in non-derivative stocks, and there will be other table for derivative securities. So it will find all those information and saves the data into a list, and this list is returned to the main function. And this list, on this list, I call DB insert query function. This insert query insert this return list into my insider trading data. And I have another function also to save this data to Excel. And once all is done, so if there is no more data, then it will sleep for 300 seconds, that is 5 minutes, and again after 5 minutes it will repeat the process. So this is the whole Python application, and this function, this all application is running on Google Cloud. So let me show you the Google Cloud console. So this is my Google Cloud console. Let me refresh. So I'm here in my cloud compute engine, and this is my instance. This is a Linux engine, Linux server, and its public IP is 34.95.32.27. So if I go to this IP address, I can access the Django application. This is my IP address of the host, Django host, where this application is running, and this is on HTTP yet. Very soon I'm going to make it secure. I will make it HTTPS. We have to add SSL certificates in the Django application. It will be done very soon. So if I go to this URL, I see this application inside the trading data refreshed every 5 minutes from US SEC Edgar website. You can search using any values, anything here, and it gives a paginated results of 100 results per page, and I can go to the next page, like I can go to the second page, and I can go to the third page, I can go to the next page, I can go to again the next page, I can go to the last page, I can go to the first page, and it presents all the data and including the form for URL. So this is the form for URL. So yeah, that's it about it, and we already have registered a domain name, custom domain name for this. So this is the, yeah, now this is, if you go to insidertradingai.com, you will get the same application here. So that's it. And last thing is I will show you the logging here. So this is my Google Cloud server. So if I will check what all Python processes are running on my server, you will see few. So this is my Django application, and this is the main Python script which is fetching the data from, which is doing the web scraping, which is running forever, and it sleeps for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, and scrapes the data every 5 minutes from these websites and stores in database. So that's what it is doing. The first fetching the data and storing, processing it and storing database, and this Django application, using this you can see this. You can see this all this data from the database into the Django dashboard. And what else? Yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.